Represento las calles de mi tierra. Mi bandera, ay, mi bandera. Puerto Rico y todos los latinos. Sonamos donde quiera.
Good afternoon, everyone. Salute. Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network channel, Latinos with Wrestling Voices. But before we get into a stacked week of wrestling show, we are sponsored here today by Dude Wipes. Stay fresh, stay clean, stay match ready. Dude Wipes and the Sports Jedi Network. And we're proudly sponsored for Blackout Coffee. Wake up, stand up, never back down. Head to blackoutcoffee.com/Rumba. Use our code Rumba, save 20% off, or my special promo code SportsJedi20 and save even more. All right, let's get real. We got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, the IWC. The IWC isn't just imploding because of bad wrestling. It's imploding because there's too many reactionary podcasters who are chasing clout instead of credibility. Everybody wants to get loud. Everybody wants attention. Everybody wants a credibility. But that disappears when certain companies and certain names are involved. I speak about the Trey Miguel situation. It's been exposed, the double standard, really quickly over the past few days, where he works here, why he works here. We don't play favorites. AEW, WWE, TNA, they all deserve equal criticisms, and that's what it gets. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the week in professional wrestling, back and forth. But before we get going, I want to throw it to one of the sharpest minds on the channel in the wrestling takes from very cold, snowy Hershey, Pennsylvania. PGA Chris, take us from here.
Yeah, man, 7 inches of snow outside. So we're going to be here talking wrestling for a little bit here. A lot of things happened throughout the week, obviously, with Trey Miguel, TNA wrestling. They had a show last night, Saturday night's main event. But we like to start kind of from Mondays and, so on. But a lot has happened this week, and we're not going to do that this week because I was talking to a friend of mine this morning on FaceTime. He was calling me just to say what's up, whatever. And we're talking a little bit about Saturday night's main event. I kind of want to talk a little bit about last night and the Royal Rumble, because he tells me, he goes, yo, Chris, he goes, when's the Royal Rumble? It's next week, right? I'm like, yeah, it's next week. It's earlier start because they're in Saudi Arabia, all this stuff. And he's like, this feels like one of the least promoted Royal Rumbles in a couple of years. And I'm like, huh? You know what? He's kind of right. I mean, we had Cody declare not that only a week ago. I mean, we have a little bit more of an idea what's going to happen for the Rumble, at least to me. But when my friend told me that, I was like, wow, like he's kind of right, because you don't hear much, for yesterday during that Saturday night's main event was like one of the first times they actually did like a whole, where they showed the match, the 30 women Royal Rumble, and then the matches. Maybe they were just waiting for Saturday night's main event to get over with. But again, doing a Saturday night's main event too close to the show to Royal Rumble is a good thing and a bad thing, in my opinion. But now we got some answers. Sami Zayn will be competing for the Universal title at Royal Rumble against Drew. I'm straight up say, if he wins that Universal title at the Royal Rumble, I'm going to be very, very upset. I'm going to be very, very just confused, because I don't know what Sami Zayn a story is going to do leading him up to WrestleMania as champion. There's a story with Drew, at least. If you want to run Cody back, he doesn't have to win the Rumble. He can win the Chamber, right? But there's a story at least there with Drew if he does hold the title win to WrestleMania, which is a real possibility that no one saw coming. So I hope WWE doesn't get rid of that moment or get rid of what could be to give Saudi a big, feel-good moment with Sami Zayn winning the fucking Universal title. I don't want that. And I think that'd be horrible. But the show last night I thought was good. I thought the Fatal 4-Way match, was good. All that stuff. Obviously, we're going to talk. The reason why I want to talk about Saturday night's main event going into the Rumble is because I wanted to wait until this Saturday night main event took place to really give you guys a little bit more in depth. Because last week we talked about on the show What do you think's going to happen at the Rumble? I was like, I want to see what happens at Saturday night's main event. Now, AJ Styles takes on Shinsuke. Really good match. But I was telling Kev off air, I guess Shinsuke posted a diary on his Instagram where he said that basically the long story short that everyone's talking about was he asked AJ when he was going to retire. Shinsuke said, or Shinsuke asked AJ that question. AJ said he decided the Rumble. So it's like he spoiled the Royal Rumble between him and Gunther. So, I mean, just frick all that for a second. Just, I think now we're going to get even more speculation. That match is going to mean more, and more people are going to be in tune because, like you mentioned to me earlier, Unreal. These are the first two things I'll talk about before we get really too ahead. You told me a little bit earlier, like they could be swerving us with the Unreal. They're doing a lot of Unreal stuff. You know, is this a swerve? It's not, because it was deleted right away after a lot of the major wrestling outlets picked up on it and went viral in the community. But overall, they had a good match. But my question is, what's really going to happen now? Is he going to lose to Gunther at the Rumble? Those are the two things from last night's show that I took out of that. It's making me, curious coming next Saturday for the Royal Rumble.
All right. Let me try to get the chronological order because there's a lot of good stuff there. Good stuff there. I love it. First and foremost, when you mentioned we wanted to wait about what was happening in Saudi Arabia and your friend saying the lack of build for the Royal Rumble, which he is not wrong of saying that, but I think WWE has gotten to the point where no matter what they do, people are going to shit on it and be negative and complain about it. If they were to promote the living hell out of this Royal Rumble and get it properly built, I'm not saying it's not an excuse, but look at them. What the hell? Who gives a shit? They're in Saudi Arabia. You sold out to Saudi Arabia. The negativity of it. You sold out. Who gives a shit about it? You guys are going to Saudi. Well, you're force feeding us these commercials and love Saudi, where you're taking the great Royal Rumble over there, where we're not going to be able to do Comic-Con and all these meet and greets across piggyback Royal Rumble. You're already hearing that with the WrestleMania. So WWE says, why spend all this money advertising where we got paid a boatload from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia ready to come here? They're actually building a new stadium to host the Royal Rumble in. So do they really? People are wrestling fans, no matter what, the WC's wrestling fans, no matter what we do, they're going to negative on it. Let's not waste our money in advertising that hard. That's the way I perceive it, the way I see it. And they're going to watch anyway. They've invested $30 a month on this on ESPN Plus app, or whichever means they are consuming the product. They're invested. They're going to watch. They're going to hate watch. They're going to watch to love it. So I'm not going to, you know what? Everyone knows the Rumble. People are going to talk about it. They're going to talk about it on Twitter for either negative reaction for the lack of build anyway. So we're getting publicity. We don't have to spend the advertised dollars. Remember, they're greedy. This is a TKO board membership that wants to benefit every dollar possible. The way I perceive it, the way I see it, is in that point of view. I could be wrong. In that's the way I see it. That's my point of view when it comes to that. Like you mentioned, also the Sami Zayn. We know that he's the number one contender. There again, when Kingdom of Saudi Arabia pays a lot of money for the event to come to their country, plus they're building a new stadium. They want to see they're kind of dictating who they're kind of catering or writing the story for them with Sami Zayn. Does Sami Zayn win the Undisputed World Championship? I give him a 40% chance of winning it. I was like, no way, because let's face it, he could lose it in the Chamber the following month. It could lose it in Chicago in the Chamber. It wouldn't. I understand WWE wants to play it safe, but when there's a lot of millions of dollars, you want to send the people in that region happy if they're going to, especially if they're getting they're getting a WrestleMania, and they're bankrolling a lot of the WWE when it comes to their creative and helping TKO get out of that financial situation mess that they had when they merged with WWE, whatever the case is. So Sami Zayn as world champion, maybe we might not like it. There might be a small minority that would love to see him as Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship. You know what? First time ever, I'm going to say Royal Rumble is 50-50 for me when it comes to that title, Chris.
Fair, because he could lose it at the chamber. There are times he can lose it. Fair. You could even have it play in the elimination chamber match. So yeah, that's fair. But still, it's it's just who. So is Drew gonna win the chamber then? Who like I just don't see where whoever wins if I don't know. He would have to lose it one-on-one to back to Drew or Cody or somebody or triple threat or something, because there's nobody that I see him. If he does, I don't think he holds that title to WrestleMania, because I don't see anybody that's like, who has the story with Sami Zayn. Who have they been building? What have they been building? To me, they've been building for that title Cody and Drew at WrestleMania.
Yes. Also,
that's where I'm like, if Sami wins that title, because if Drew wins, you could easily play it where Cody enters the Rumble or the chamber if he loses the Rumble, or Sami. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like,
here's the wonderful thing that we're speaking currently right now on the 25th of January. Unpredictability. Where people says WWE is so predictable. It's so predictable. There's nothing wrong with predictability at times as well. But now we're going into a Rumble to possibly WrestleMania season where it's unpredictable. No one has a clear-cut identity of what's the main event for either night one or night two of WrestleMania, which is a good thing. And it could be, there's pros and cons with this statement that I'm mentioning right now. If for the wrestling world, because they have to have an idea of who's your main eventers. But right now, who knows who's the favorite to win the Royal Rumble? No, there's no, some people would say Roman Reigns. Like, okay, why? You're going to reward, he's there to add that levity or that credibility to that Rumble. I don't, Royal Rumble win for Roman Reigns. Okay. Is he going to be there the months to build to that, for him winning the Rumble to the WrestleMania, road to WrestleMania? Ask that question on wrestling fans before you want to pick Roman Reigns as your winner of the Rumble. Is he going to be around to build? And because everybody talked about how terrible the build for WrestleMania last year was, and at least you had John Cena out there, cutting promos, and he was being out there at times. Where are we going to see that amount of time, or are we going to hit that same repeat with Roman Reigns winning the Rumble? That's what I ask you guys as the wrestling fans that are listening and observe. They always try to think about, try to hold your fandom for a second and try to think what's best for money, business wise, for these corporate guys that want to make want to take every nickel out of the consumer's pockets. Going along, right? I don't know right now. This is something that it's fun because, reactionary or predictions or reviewing content for different streamers in the IWC. This is fun because you really don't have the right answers. You don't have the blueprint. You don't have the cliff notes of what's happening in the next few months, Chris.
No, I agree. There's a lot of people that I think, not a lot, but there's a few people, I should say, right? I think Braun might have a possibility to win the Royal Rumble. I unfortunately, bro, I cannot count Cody out 100%. Because that's just how it is, right? Cody, Braun, I mean, Sammy's kind of out the door unless Gunther. Unless Sami competes after he loses, and then he wins the Royal Rumble. Imagine that. Imagine he loses to Drew and he goes, "I'm entering," or he just surprisingly enters to win. That could happen. Because that way you keep the title on Drew, but you still send the fans home, like you said with Sami. So maybe that's a possibility. But yeah, I would say, Cody, Gunther, and Braun. I have to put Cody up there just because he implicates with the Universal Championship right now. And I hate to say it, but I have to put him there. But I would really put Gunther and Braun. I know those are two Raw guys, but, Braun has obviously been chasing Punk in that title, and Gunther, he's retiring people left and right. I think this year's kind of his year. This is also a way for him to get the title back. So those are the two guys I'm a little high on, because at the end of the day, you could always play the SmackDown angle on the Elimination Chamber. But it also, I don't know if a SmackDown wrestler could. Again, it doesn't always matter, right? But I'm just gonna speculate because if you have somebody on like CM Punk's the limited chambers in Chicago, so maybe the winner of the chamber fights Punk. I don't know. So that I think this Royal Rumble, last night made it a little bit unpredictable, pretty good. I would have to go with Braun. Early prediction, I would have to go with Braun.
Well, I got Braun starting at number 1.
Oh,
I think
Adam Pearce is gonna
Adam
try to screw him over.
Pierce is gonna screw him over, put him at number 1. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's got to face across a member of division or something along the lines. 1-1, 1-2.
Seth Rollins comes back.
No. Maybe him and Brunson Reed at the Rumble 1-2, and they have to battle it out for just to try to cause dissension at the moment there with the Vision, and then the poor number 3, whoever that one, because they'll stop from beating each other and beat the living crap out of 3, and then they kind of protect Braun. I think Braun runs the gauntlet. But I as much as everyone knows how much besides Mike Santana, Braun Breaker's my guy. And I would love Braun. I could see Braun winning, but then I'm holding off. Who is he challenging? Punk and Braun at the Rumble? I mean, at WrestleMania. Okay, that's not bad. This is where it confuses me. They did that WrestleMania commercial with the Vegas where they're sitting around playing the poker game. Those are your main eventer guys. Unless they're swerving us to think those are the guys that are going to be put in the picture, and meanwhile they do something different. I don't know, because they all look like they're not going to be in this poster on this video that's been running since November, and they're not going to be in the main event or in the top main event scene. So I'm that's why I'm confused, Chris, because would be great to see Obafemi. Some people would love to see Obafemi make his debut and win the Rumble, or even Trick, being a weasel, the way he pushes, the way he give him a Slammiversary type of finish where he's outside the ring, and the last 2 Rumble competitors last 3, including himself, and 2 of them are tussling over the ropes, and he comes and throws them out, and Trick goes to the main event WrestleMania. But it's not going to happen. This is just me throwing those out there. They're not going to do that, because then it just abolishes their commercial of WrestleMania with all of them. Trick was nowhere near in that commercial, and so forth. So that's where I'm a little bit confused when it comes to that. I mean, also I asked this question about Sami Zayn. Does putting him on the marquee of WrestleMania, is that going to draw money? You can say the same thing about Trick Williams as well, because they're like, who is this? That's the thing you got to think about when you put that billboard either in Times Square or across the country. People are going to gravitate to those faces and say, I need to see this. I need to see this main event, night 1 and night 2. That's at the end of the game. As a marketing person to see, does it draw you in to want to watch it, Chris? And that's the dilemma I'm having. But you have to start making new stars as well. So it's a lot of contradictions in the statement. I understand that, guys. But, man, you have to have those healthy debates. Make a list and cross out pros and cons, and maybe you get more pros and say, I think this is who they're going to go with.
Yeah, no, I mean they could go with anybody, really. I mean, there's not anybody, but there are a couple people, and look, we're gonna get a couple surprises. I wouldn't be shocked, right? I think everybody from that commercial, will compete. I think Brock's gonna be in it. I think Roman's gonna be in it. I don't know, because if people were saying earlier this year that we're gonna get Cody and Roman part 3. Now I'm thinking, how the hell are we gonna do that? Cody's not even the champ, and he's not competing again. So I don't know. I don't see any of those guys like a Brock or like a Roman, like a returning guy winning the Rumble. I think it's somebody. I also don't think it's somebody that we're not expecting. Like, I think it's going to come down to a Gunther or a Braun Breaker, where it's like, okay, this makes sense.
Even Jacob
Fatu, right? I think he could win the chamber.
Ooh, I like that thought process.
He could win the chamber. I think he could win the chamber because now that yesterday, again, this is why I kind of wanted to talk about both, because now that yesterday, where during that match that was supposed to happen between Fatu and Cody, it's like Drew comes out there, and who's the first person that he attacks? It's Jacob. So it's like that's the match too. I didn't even throw good call because I totally forgot about Jacob. I don't even know why I'm not thinking about Jacob, considering what we saw yesterday. Like
And
he's also one.
why I brought Jacob, Chris, because you mentioned Roman, and they're like, oh, that's a way of getting Roman into the story.
Okay,
Why?
yeah.
Because Jacob and Roman, yes, they're on the bloodline, but they never were allies on the same side as family. You know, they were. He was brought in. Solo brought him in because he was doing his own family, and you know that was that stare down with Roman and Jacob. They never were allies. Despite being part of family bloodlines, they never established that on WWE television. So Roman is going to come in now to be the saving hero. You're going to make Fatu look like a little guy because he's going to you need the tribal chief to save his ass. No, that's why I'm like Cody and Roman. Some people say that opens the door for them to fight to renew their third match. No, I don't see it with Jacob. I think on the contrary, it hurts Jacob if you put Roman in to be the saving family member to come in. Like, oh, you can't do this. I guess I got to be the big cousin to come in and clean up your mess. I don't think so. I hope not. I hope that's not where they're going, Chris.
No, I agree. I hope that's not where they're going either with that. Because I don't think Jacob don't need Roman to elevate him. No, it's just no. I agree.
No, not at all. And Jacob showed us. Look, one thing we've talked about, and I've said that on the watch along for the SmackDown portion on Friday night. I was saying, you know what? Jacob. I knew that he has that aura, but I didn't think he was there yet for the main event. And then when he had that sit down crash interview on Cody Rhodes, when he crashed the interview on Michael Cole on SmackDown, and when he mentioned and talked about how real he got, I was like, yo, Jacob just made a promo that says I belong in the main event scene. And then that mayhem brawl to start off Saturday night's main event, they didn't give us a match, but that was the best way possible of protecting both wrestlers if they didn't want to give a pin, because they brawl for 20 minutes all across. No one could control them. Uncontrollable chaos, mayhem throughout the arena in the Bell Center. And you know what? We were like, I wanted to see a definitive 1, 2, 3 winner, a pin. But if that's the best way of protecting the wrestlers, and they went out and still did all that brawling for 20 minutes, I gotta say I'm gonna tip my hat because I was entertained, and a hot start on a cold, frigid night in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Great job there. And I want to see now Jacob Fatu. Now he's more a credible, who is hungry desire, who wants to make a statement to the world in Riyadh. Go out there and win the Rumble, or even the Chamber. That's why I'm going to jump into Monday Night Raw a little bit. I'm going to sprinkle this in with Raw from Belfast. I would not mind seeing Finn Bálor winning the heavyweight champion from just for a few months here for Punk, so Punk can have a side quest. And because I don't think Punk is going to defend the heavyweight championship in the Rumble. It's going to be a night off for Punk at the Rumble. So you would have had Finn with the world heavyweight champion. They could have ran it back in Chicago at the Elimination Chamber, where you would have Finn Bálor going in as champion, Punk as the challenger for the world heavyweight title. Punk wins it in front of his fans in Chicago, where the people will, celebrate Punk as a world champion, winning it. He holds up the title. Then either the winner of whoever didn't win the Rumble, or whoever they declared, or the Chamber, could come out at the end, stare down Punk with the title, and then that's setting up for your WrestleMania. Like, oh, I got to see this. If they were going to go that route, or even if the Rumble winner comes out where Punk wins the world title back in the Elimination Chamber and have that face-off, and you're really saying, welcome to the road to WrestleMania, because you have that, so they kind of, I hope they give us a better payoff and it would have not hurt Finn Bálor for a 35-day title reign. It would have been cool. I don't know. They just missed the boat. They could have, really, I don't know. I just felt that they could have gave Finn that opportunity for the few months there. It would have not hurt one bit. It would have not hurt CM Punk one bit, because he says, you know what? I'm going to my home in Chicago. I'm going to exercise my rematch clause in front of my people. It would have been so emotionally connected, even though it would have been predictable, but it would have been so emotionally connected for Chicago and Punk, and that would have been great. Let's face it, Chicago is a town that they're fighting for fans. All Elite Wrestling does a lot of shows there. So does now WWE. That market is a tug of war market. You put that there with Punk winning the title and then from home, it would have done something to shift more eyes to the now, I believe the Allstate Arena would have been, but they missed out on opportunity, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. I don't really have much to add. I just think now that I think the road that they're going now is they're gonna have probably the elimination, the men's. I think Punk's gonna main event whoever he fights at the Chamber. I think he'll main event the Chamber, and I think the men's Chamber will take place first. And I think the winner, when Punk wins that, but when he retains his title, I think the winner of the Chamber is gonna come out, and then they'll have their face to face.
Right. It's the same thing like they did last year.
Same thing, but yeah, right. So, but no, I would. I mean, Finn winning it wouldn't have been bad either. I think, you know, him winning it in Ireland, you know, it would have been fine. I don't know if they were going to do 2 title changes like that because they just did one with Drew and Cody. So I mean, they could have easily.
But Chris doesn't. Why does it hold you? Like if you got a couple $1,000 in the bank, $1,000 in cash, and you got a couple thousand in your account, is God going to stop you from deposit the money? Oh no, I already did that already. I'm not going to deposit a couple thousand more in my account. I mean, come on, that's stupid logic. Cut that fucking stupid logic. Oh, they just had a title change. We're not going to do it again. Stop that. That's what that history shows. That's what they. I know. I hate that. Stop that. This is supposed to be unpredictability. Sports. We don't know that the kicker's going to miss the freaking field goal at the end of the game and cost a coach a job. Or some of them might hit it. You never know. Some of them have a gut feeling, but it's still chance. Do something. Make it unpredictable. Make it, you know what? Oh, well, they're going to play it safe. They're not going to make the title change. They already had a couple on SmackDown. Or not. Stop with that. I wish WWE would stop that.
It sucks that I have to think that.
I'm not saying but I'm saying in general purpose.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it sucks that I have to think that because we kind of, like I just said, right? History kind of repeats itself. And if you make a great point because if they would have done that, it's like, whoa, they just did 2 because we saw it last year, right? Io Sky beats Rhea in that random match. Oh shit. And then they don't do that again. They play it safe throughout the entire course until WrestleMania. And then WrestleMania, they finally didn't play it safe where Jay taps out Gunther. Like, this is what I think's happening again. And I think that does suck. You're 100% right. Because, you know, now that we're like, okay, Cody, like they're not going to do that here. And they did. And guess what? Yes. They'll probably have Punk lose the title at WrestleMania. It's going to happen. Like, it's unfortunate, but like I agree with Kev, man. It wouldn't have hurt Finn. I don't think, or excuse me, it wouldn't have hurt Punk. I think because they should eliminate. It has to do with the elimination chamber being in Chicago. That is my main reason why I think it doesn't hurt Punk. He can whatever he does at Chicago. It's his night. He's going over. That's why I agree. I agree, but it also. You know, when I do see Cody losing the title, it's like there's no way they're doing this again.
Yes, indeed.
They should.
Salute to Chris Denver in the chat. Yes, please follow our Discord. It's on the video.
Hopefully, it's on I think you're a Broncos fan, right? Yeah, I hope so. Good luck today. I think you are a Broncos fan, if I am not mistaken. So
my boy Dave, my boss Dave is a big Bronco fan, so hopefully he wins. It'll be in a good mood tomorrow at work.
My old foreman was a Raiders fan, so he was miserable every day.
Oh, it said it's expired. I want my Discord link. Do we have to offer?
Chris, I'll send you the right one after the stream, bud.
There you go.
I'll send it to you via DM after the stream.
What's up, Samurai's in the building? What's going on,
Samurai?
Yeah, so we're talking about the weekend wrestling here. Where Little Rumble Saturday night's main event. Watching it last night watching along with you guys was really cool. I thought this was one of their best cards. I mean, it was a perfect 10. I can't not find even the commercial placements were freaking on point. There was they kind of borrowed from TNA Plus app. They're wait for the show, wait for the matches to end, go in your commercials.
And I'm happy they did it with the one match that people actually cared about, which not saying that people didn't care about the main event, but people wanted to, if you're a wrestling, like a mark, you wanted to see Shinsuke and AJ. So
let's talk about that match. It was a cold match that was put up on SmackDown where they didn't build it, they got it, made a lot of sense. From AJ Styles wearing that mask when was his last time he wore that New Japan when he wore a mask to the ring. The Shinsuke Nakamura match, some argue, could be better than their WrestleMania match. In terms of psychology wise, I could see where you could go and say yes, much better match because Shinsuke sold that leg. You know, there was a couple of times he was going to do the conchata. He was going to do a couple of other moves, and that leg prohibited him from moving. Loved it, and AJ with the calf crusher attacking, the selling, the registering of those are pros. You know, and what a freaking match. They went over 20, 24, 27 minutes time for them to have that match at that age for both of these performers and put on a classic banger or a 5-star match on Saturday night's main event. I appreciate and thank you to those two gentlemen for entertaining us on a Saturday night where it's snow, bad weather, inclement weather. You got to stay home and really, really, really see how wonderful the art of professional wrestling is done with some really smart, cagey, athletic, gifted athletes.
Yeah, it was a really good match. The WrestleMania 40 or no, was it 34? Excuse me. The WrestleMania 34 match was good. I enjoyed it. There was really nothing. It was kind of like the AJ Styles and Cena match. It was a really good match. I enjoyed it. The psychology, obviously, they've had so many good matches even before WrestleMania and right in other companies. If you're, I know a little bit about their New Japan history. I'm a little, I know enough to know about that whole era. But if you're somebody like our friend Heather who likes stuff like that, I know she was really excited to see the match. So those fans got a treat. You talk about AEW, and I don't want to throw them in real quick, but you talk about them having those type of matches where it's like the New Japan old school matches where it's like, no, WWE gave you that. And I think it was cool. They don't give us that often. They even acknowledged a little history there on commentary. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked the match. And I think, obviously AJ winning's the right move if he's going to lose next week and retire.
Yes, you mentioned something to me that I did not see off air. Please elaborate that what was posted this morning that I'm like, I didn't see that. You caught me by surprise.
Yeah, so I guess earlier in the day, Shinsuke Nakamura posted something on his Instagram story, which has now been deleted. But it was basically something, and I want to try to find it here for you guys. But it was basically something, he asked AJ Styles when he's going to retire, this and that. And he basically said Shinsuke basically told us that AJ Styles told him that he's going to retire at the Royal Rumble. So he wanted to have this match. He wrote like a love letter in Japanese. So it caught a lot of people by surprise on the internet because it felt like Shinsuke Nakamura spoiled AJ Styles' retirement, meaning like he's gonna lose. I can't find the actual thing. I don't know if it's been deleted, but I know he deleted it from his Instagram. But the point is, I think AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura both know that AJ Styles is done. So he wanted this last match with AJ. He wanted to send him off right. And it caught people by surprise, and it came from his look. When I went to go checking on Shinsuke's personal Instagram, it's already been deleted. But when I checked a lot of the retweets, it was like, oh, he deleted it. So I'm assuming those people saw it there, and then they went back and go see. So it just caught people by surprise. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to really make out of it because, like you mentioned earlier, right? They're kind of doing the unreal. Do they want to swerve us a little bit? Does Shinsuke want to swerve us a little bit? I have no idea. So I think it's going to, it makes the match between him and Gunther 10 times more interesting, in my opinion.
All right. Thank you, James Jones, who just joined us on our Discord. So thank you so much. I put the new one. I went back, and that's why I was looking to the side. I was on my other computer. That's I guess, the link. I guess you have to upgrade that all the time or refresh it for your invite. So that's a new invite if you join our server for on Discord. Just wanted to put that out there. And yeah, when we come with Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, for AJ Styles, reports has it, well, it was leaked or was said by, I believe, Fightful, February 11th or 12th is his final time, or his date expires for the WWE contract. Where if they wanted, they could always extend it to WrestleMania, add that on going forward, or is that it? You know, we talked about this, so we say maybe he wants to retire the event that brought him in, the Rumble. And I've said this, and I'll say it again. I said this like the third time I repeat saying this. It kind of sucks that we're going to get AJ retired not on the United States soil for the WWE. It's going to be it's Saudi, where I would have loved AJ Styles to get his last match in the United States, where when his in his intro, you can hear even his music, where he is a Southern boy. It's would have been nice to see that send off in the American soil, but he chooses where he wants to end his WWE career. I don't think that's his end of his wrestling career. I still think he has maybe one or two more matches in TNA, especially where TNA Thursday Night Impact will be in Georgia in the month of March, where we could see AJ Styles. Who does he wrestle? With Frankie Kazarian going down with that surgery on his wrist. I know he was very animated and wanted that match with his friend, Kazarian and Styles. Santana has been a name that's been mentioned. We saw them that backstage on the premiere of the AMC debut for Thursday Night Impact, and Mike has been open to want to have a match with AJ Styles. Will be a great match for him. For Mike to see my goodness, put those two on the square circle will be amazing. But we'll find out. I don't know, or they could swerve us. They could have. It'd be interesting the placement of the men's Royal Rumble. If that's something that happens before the retirement match for AJ and Gunther, I could see where, if Gunther's competing in the Rumble, he eliminates Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar, petty, will come back out and cause Gunther to lose to AJ. AJ still continues, and Gunther still hell-bent that, no, you didn't beat me square, fair, and maybe he gets that in Chicago, the send-off in the United States soil, or on a random Monday Night Raw. I don't know. I could say expect the unexpected, because maybe they're trying to swerve us in a time that is hard to get swerved, with all the people, saying, WWE is reported and told me, and sources tells me. What a lot of people saying sources tells me, they want to try to say no one told you, no one saw that coming. So I don't know, Chris. You got to keep keep your options open, and not believe everything you read online.
I agree.
So we'll see on that there. So. Let's where do you want to talk here? Finish up Monday Night Raw. I believe that.
Yeah, we can finish on Monday Night Raw. We're already on that. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that Maxxine and Natalya finally get the heel turn, as Becky Lynch goes in Belfast, retains her women's Intercontinental title. I love the fact she didn't let the crowd overshadow her with a lot of babyface love, because she's the heel, and she got the heat back on, and it felt that she had a good match with Maxxine. Hopefully that rivalry might be over for them. They had 6 good matches. Some of them might have been better than the other. That's not what we're debating. That was a nice feud for Maxxine. It made Maxxine get on the scene, and now Natty arrives. Your thoughts on Natty?
I would have done it a little bit differently. I liked, obviously we liked the end result, but to me it's like, Natty should have been by her side through the entire feud that she had with Becky. She should have been walking there by her, being her valet through she should have been, when Maxxine won the title at Madison Square Garden, that Natty should have been out there. Why? Because I think it would have set up the moment a little bit better, because all we saw was backstage vignettes leading up to that, which those should have been in person. Those shouldn't have been backstage vignettes. Those should have been in person, or at least like not a vignette, like a backstage, like live. But if let's say that Natty was there when Maxxine wins the title, bro, and they're hugging and all that, to me, that makes the heel turn more mean something. If she's there by her side, to me, we kind of knew what was happening, because it's like, okay, why is Natty there now? Why is she there now? Out of like, that's kind of where it was like, if they would have, had her Natty by her side throughout the matches, celebrate the win she had, in person, while create like some moments that she's the real mentor and they're on the same page, and then you have that moment come out where no one expects it. Because if she's out there for the last 3 weeks, the last month, okay, she's just out there. We won't expect it. But she comes out there one time, and the one time she comes out there, Natty does the heel turn. To me, they could have built it a little bit better. But at the end of the day, the end result is what matters. And I like it, but this would have been cool for 2 if Maxxine was the champion.
Okay, I like that. I like what you're saying there. Here's what they kind of hurt themselves. Madison Square Garden, this is what, like you said, it should have been Natalya in her corner, but they decided to go the AJ Lee route. AJ Lee.
And where has she been since?
Exactly. Thank you so much for finishing that one, because that's exactly where I was going to get to. She's not even nowhere to be seen. She's not even declared for the Rumble. So that's a disconnect. It should have been, you know what? It should have been Natty coming out and in the role of, they could have built something, because we saw it. It was already there, and they decided to not talk about it anymore when it was Becky getting a little disrespectful to Natalya, and that's when Maxxine got the opportunity instead of Natty, because we know Natalya had to go do a book tour. This is where the outside extracurricular in ventures is hurting the WWE talents, and it's kind of an oxymoron. Great, you're signing books. Great, you're doing movies. Great, you're doing extracurricular stuff outside the ring. But it kind of sucks in the world when there is no house shows to take away from you there. You cannot schedule for a Monday for you to miss an important book show and be part of the show. You got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to do those other stuffs. This is where I have a little bit of a pushback. There is no Wednesday in Duluth or in Sheboygan, so you have to do a house show. So can you at least be there for Monday Night Raw and prolong the story? You at a disconnect, because all I hear on Thursdays at 11 o'clock on satellite radio, Natty is this tough bitch. Natty is this tough bitch. Can we see it on television before you turn on Maxxine Dupri so we could get behind you? We want you to be on television. We want that low-key legend on our television, kicking ass, taking names, and being that hard ass that you speak on every Thursday at 11 a.m. I want to see that. But when there's no television run up, there's no nothing. First of all, she should have been at the Barclays Center when Maxxine loses the title. That's when she should have turned heel on her.
I agree. And I also think she should have been there for Madison Square Garden too, to celebrate with her. And then boom, they go to I agree 100%. Yes.
And why am I so passionate, Chris, and upset? Because I see the money and the low-key legend badass. The Neidhart, when it was either her father or the daughter, they are one of the most invested heels in professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. Her dad was a badass heel that I'm not talking about in terror. I'm talking about, damn, you don't want to fuck with them. Like, damn.
Like, if you met him in the streets, you don't want to fuck with him. And I'm going to
the other side of the street. Yeah. I'm going on the other side of the street because that Jim D'Ambonaya will kick my ass. God rest his soul. I'm like, nope. No, thank you. No. And the same thing, Natty looks like, she's the sweetheart, but she looks like she could kick you. She will really turn that psycho switch on you. That's what I want to see. That's why I'm passionate, because she's not getting any younger. Don't waste her time. She don't have time to waste to reinvent. She's got this low-key legend that looks badass with some MMA. When she comes out of Entourage in the black gear, ready to go, they should, boom. Don't hesitate, because the skills, the timing, Father Time is undefeated. I'm not saying she's old, no, but don't waste the time when you have it there. Utilize your time proper. Don't waste it. One of the worst thing in life is wasting time. And I don't want that for her. That's why I'm passionate, because there's gold for her, for her to get going. There's in the art where there's not a lot of female heels that people want to get invested in with and dislike. You could dislike Natty with her work in ring, on camera work, and don't waste it. Don't waste it, because they could use the heat. They could use the heat in the women's division. Don't just rely on poor Becky to get that heat. There's other ladies that you could spread the wealth. Reparte el bacalao, por favor. Let's go. That's what I'm trying to say here. That's why I get so animated that I want to see. It's not that I don't want to see. I want to see Natalya. She's wasted too much time in the WWE and catering. No, now it's time to get to work. And she wants to get to work. Now it's up to creative. Put her to work. That's my last thing for Natty. And I wish they had that connection where we could give a shit. I wanted Natty. I've said it this. After that Barclays Center, she should have took Maxxine out and stolen from the past, put her like the way Macho Man put down Ricky Steamboat where he had to learn how to talk. I'm not saying that exact copy and paste. Somewhere along the line where Maxxine is ran off for a couple of weeks injured, where she could go have her honeymoon with her husband, Anthony Luke or Cam Hendricks. What a terrible name they gave that poor kid. I think Anthony Luke sounds like a fucking $1 million. Cam Hendricks.
Wait, they changed his name?
They changed his name to Cam Hendricks. Cam Hendricks.
What? Wait, is he on the new LFG season or something?
He's on evolving to nothing.
Oh, wait, so they let Shiloh Hill keep his fucking name?
Exactly. Thank you. They let
Tasha May Steeles, our girl, keep her name, and she's phenomenal. But the point is, why would they change his?
This Anthony Luke sounds like a
He's
million.
More popular than fucking Shiloh.
Anthony Luke sounds. You could put that on a marquee. Cam Hendricks. What the
Cam
fuck is Cam Hendricks?
I did not know they changed his name. What the fuck?
Oh, it's yeah. Because I remember, yeah. Shout out to the PUWF, the podcast for unappreciative wrestling fans. Alex Coquito, of course, they do their Evolve watch-alongs and they break down.
Okay.
And that's how I saw it short. I'm like, who the hell is this Cam Hendricks? And I looked and I go, what? They changed his name? The guy. Yeah. I got to give them credit. I got to give them a lot of credit for putting me up to that name change. And it's been a while too. But man, what a terrible name change for that kid. And my point is, they could have went and gotten that honeymoon and taken care of the 2 weeks off, whatever, come back from injuries, vignettes of Maxxine getting ready, being at the Rumble. By the way, right there, you will have your number 1 and number 2 in the women's entry of the Royal Rumble. Maxxine and Natty. They should be your 1 and 2 entrants. Let them go 2 minutes. Let them go ham, bake. Those are your number 1 and 2 entry for the Women's Royal Rumble. I'm calling it right now. I saw that a mile away when heel turn. Especially if Natty didn't injure Maxxine to the point where she's going to make it. She didn't really cripple her. All she did, I was like, please don't just put her in a damn sharpshooter. I needed her to really get her injured. That's why it would have worked, Chris. It would have worked for Stranger Things in Brooklyn because they would have gave you 3 weeks for her to whatever lower body injury, whatever the hell you want to call it, and boom, she's back at the Rumble. You can't sell it in a week, Chris, or a week and a half that she's got injured.
I agree 100%.
And she's back all of a sudden at the Rumble. It wouldn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't resonate. No matter how much Bioflex you could put on. Shout out to TNA and the injury report.
No, I agree 100%, dude. No, I have nothing else to say. You added on. You had nailed it on the head. It should have happened at the Stranger Things show in Brooklyn, and she should have been by her corner at MSG. And all those vignettes should have been in the crowd so the crowd can, not just because, like I said, when she came out, I'm like, why is she only coming out now?
Yes. It's like, and then you can see them a mile away. Oh, Daddy, you're here. Like,
right. And it's like everyone's all the reactionary pot. Oh my God. Oh, come on. Come on. Watch the fucking product and that's coming from a mile away.
Again,
but if they would have had her out there multiple weeks leading up, I wouldn't have. The reaction I would have let it slide because I wouldn't have even whoa, they finally did it. Like, oh shit. But no, why is she out there? Gee, I wonder why. Should have been out there for the last 3 weeks.
Chris, predictability when it's done correctly, there's nothing wrong with it.
I agree 100%, and this was not done correctly.
It was not done. This predictability was not done correctly where you wanted to get a people hook, line, and sinker, salivating for the heel turn, salivating for the predictability to shoot a drop. That's where they missed up. I don't know if it was schedule. Again, it was conflict of schedule. Then you're putting, and I'm not going to get mad at the talent. Be honest with you. Everyone thinks you're taking on Neidhart. No, because what is she supposed to do if she shows up and not being used and kept in catering? You could only eat so many hot pockets in catering for so long. You want to do something, book signings and do tours, and you have to do something, other types of things to be relevant. And if she had a book signing or tour away from wrestling where she's going to miss a couple Monday Night Raw, what the heck? They're not using me anyway. You know what? What's more? That's another set of hot pockets for Otis to eat. You know, it's come on. What do we can't get mad. We cannot get mad with that. Let's, hopefully they could do it, rectify it right. Hopefully these women tear it up 1 and 2 at the Rumble and let them go at it, and see where that goes forward there, and what battles and what involvement are we going to see from Natalya's character or Natty's character going forward. I don't need her to go in there and lose to Maxxine. I gotta, and it sucks because you don't want to see Maxxine lose to Natty, because then you're going to stifle and push Maxxine back to the back of the line. But you don't want Natty to be a good hand and put people over, as we're going to talk about that on Wednesday when we review and do season 2 of Unreal with Midfit Nation's own Chris Deshawn is going to join us on a 3-man panel here. We're going to break down Unreal on Wednesday. So yeah, I can't wait to have that conversation. You saw me and Deshawn from Midfit Nation break down the McMahon docuseries from Netflix, and we're back at it again, and we cannot wait to review. Chris, before we get to our next topic here, I got to tell something. I got to hear something from our sponsor, Dude Wipes. He's got a little bit of a message. We take a quick water break.
All right, quick break. Don't go anywhere. This segment is sponsored by Dude Wipes. Whether you're grinding through work, hitting the gym, or locked in for a full night of wrestling, Dude Wipes help you stay fresh. Simple as that. Portable, convenient, and designed for real life. And of course, this show is powered by the Sports Jedi Network. Independent wrestling coverage, real discussion, and a community that actually knows the product. If you rock with what we do here, support the sponsors that support the channel. Now, let's get back to the breakdown. Take it away, PGH Chris and Sports Jedi Kev.
You're watching Jedi Sports Network with Kev.
Go. Thank you, Jody Threat, for bringing us in here. Chris, let's change some gear here. Let's talk about a title that we don't know who the hell is going to win on a damn ladder. And talking about NXT. To me, NXT felt like a tale of two shows. The first hour trying to showcase the men, where, let's face it, none of the men at NXT right now is grabbing me to want to really get behind and to see the face of that brand right now. You have Ricky Saints, Joe Hendry, and then I don't know who else. I do know, Miles. I know, but none of them feel like they're that type of guy, that aura to be, give me that main title, and I am the face of NXT, other than those two men. Am I being unfair, prejudiced, biased, or am I closed-minded? Talk to me here.
Excuse me. No, because I think you're kind of on the right track, because this is what I think. And you've been watching NXT a lot. I watched the Black and Gold era, but you've been watching this Performance Center era way longer than I have, so you could probably testify. So this is what I think. I think NXT called up all their big guys. They called up all their main talent, and instead of doing stuff to get us ready, building up the guys like Sean, is his name Sean Legacy? He's
yes.
He's one of the new guys that's trying to get up there, right? The Vanity Project, all these guys, which I want to use them as an example. I'm going to use Vanity Project as an example. Swipe Right, I think that's what they were called. So we learned about Swipe Right months ago, before Trick, Oba, and all them guys got called up. And I even said, I even made jokes. I'm swiping left on these swiping left. Because if you know, I'm swiping left. I would make the jokes, but they caught my eye. Right. I got to know who they were. Now, when you bring up two guys like Sean Legacy versus Eli Knight, which, if you're going to change Anthony Luke's name, out of all the freaking names, you didn't change Eli Knight. I wish they would have. Every time I think of Eli Knight, bro, everybody knows who we think of, and it's LA Knight. Eli Drake. Yeah, Like, come on. Like, if you're going to change anybody's name, it should have been that guy. But this is my thing. This is why I'm comparing Vanity Project and these two. They gave us time to know who Vanity Project is. So by the time all these guys got moved up, we are okay. Vanity Project, like we know they're the tag team with Fraxium. When Fraxium got moved up, they should have done that months ago with Shawn Legacy and Eli Knight. If they were gonna have him in them two in a NXT Championship qualifying match. Nobody knows who the fuck these two guys are. That's why I decided to finish Unreal instead of watch NXT this week. I watched it obviously Wednesday morning, but I didn't watch it live. I was watching it because I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, they've done nothing. And it's, look, I know I gotta watch. Obviously, when we watch the show this Tuesday, I'm gonna, like, whatever, when I watch it, whatever, I'm gonna know who these guys are because I'm obviously still watch the show. But and then that's just my thing, bro. That's what I think with the current NXT is they pulled up all their big guys and didn't do anything to build up the guys coming in while those Trick and Oba and them were still in NXT. And now that Trick and them are gone and they're trying to make those guys at the top, it's like, wait, we didn't even get to know who the hell these guys are. Now you're pushing them to the NXT qualifying matches for the title. That's where it's a disconnect for me.
I totally agree with you because, like you said, and by the way, no, I'm not taking away from that match between Legacy and Knight. Was a freaking
no, it was a good match. It was a good match. It was a good match. Hey, you know what? Let me say some positive.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
It was a good match to get us introduced to who the hell these guys are as wrestlers. I still want to know who you guys are as characters. I have no idea. Shawn Legacy just looks like a fucking generic wrestler I can make on 2K. So I want to see what he can bring. But wrestling-wise, this was a good introduction to, okay, these guys got some moves.
No, you said it correctly. Our looks could be deceiving. Because when you see Shawn Legacy, you don't see, his looks is like, okay, like you said, build the character, generic. Bland. Okay, it looks like a Tyler Bates. I'm like, okay, it looks like Tyler Bates.
It looks like a good
but boy, when that bell rings, he's special. I mean, I enjoyed the match. The look, I mean, you know what? I don't know how long. Listen, if Wesley, aka Xavier Howard, or Desmond Xavier, whatever I still go by them.
Xavier.
Said that he wasn't main roster ready or didn't see him being part of Raw and SmackDown going forward. What does that say about Shawn Legacy? Because they're the same height. And I think even Wesley wrestles better, and they didn't see anything in him. What makes you think if you're Shawn Legacy, you're going to crack that code? If they didn't go with I'm going to call him Wesley because I can't. Wesley going forward, I can't see.
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Now, like, you're right. I'm with you. Why didn't they change? You could change a name that screams main event or screams big time in Anthony Luke. You couldn't change Eli Knight. Or what is it? What is it? Drake? Whatever. I don't even know.
Eli Knight, yeah.
Yeah. You couldn't change his name. I'm confused. I want to, it's like you, like, come on. What are we doing here? The kid is impressive. I said this after that match was over. 6 to 8 months from now, they run this match back. It's going to be even a bigger, better match than this match here because they're going to be more polished for television, timing wise. In ring, sharpening their skills, even if they learn how their promos. When those two guys run that match back, that's going to be a classic match. You're going to be like, damn, I remember when they first, and what a big difference their second match when these two guys with time under their belt, they're going to kill it. But then right now, they have to put sink or swim. But these competitors in this title, this ladder match, are not hitting it for me. I said this on. If I'm Josh Briggs, I'm asking for my release. Don't waste my fucking time. I've been in the NXT system. Let me go work in NOAH. Let me go work in All Elite Wrestling. Let me work for Ring of Honor. Let me work for TNA. Because in NXT, I ain't not going to. First, the crowd comes out, and they can't stand the guy. They ask him, Briggs, go away, leave. Now he's losing to LFG guys. I'm asking him, I want out. Get me out. What am I doing here? All I'm doing is looking as the big quintessential big man loser. Get me out of here. I mean, I feel so bad for Briggs. And I seen him work with Jensen when they were when they won the UK tag team titles, when they brought it back to the NXT brand. Everybody was excited. They were glazing them. You should have seen them. Oh yes, the conquering heroes are back, and now they can't stand the kid. The Pinnacle Performance Center crowd. Just release the kid. Just release the kid. I'm not, and then that was the part that I was disconnected with the men's part of NXT. I don't know. I can't get behind. Ricky Saints looked like Aquaman coming out with the colors and the teal and the orange. I did like the tease with him and Sean, with him and All Ego, Ethan Page. They're on the same page, but I don't know, Chris. What's going on with NXT? What is it missing with the men? Where's Lexus King? You've been there for years. Where are you? Drop the king and become a Pillman, and let's go kick ass.
So here's my thing. I honestly think when Josh Briggs has an opponent that is a good wrestler, dude, I don't think his matches are bad because he had an 8-minute match with Cardona that he won, which the finish looked good with that kick that he had. I thought Josh Briggs looked good against Cardona. Who did he fight? Didn't he beat Javon Evans the 1 week on NXT? He beat Javon Evans, which that match probably went over 10 minutes, and it was pretty good. And there was one
broke
more.
His jaw.
Josh Briggs broke Javon's jaw.
I believe that was the
match.
I believe so.
Well, besides that, I thought it was a decent match. And then he was in and he had one more match. I forget. It was on a PLE. But the point is, if you give him decent wrestlers, he's not bad. I don't think he's bad, and I think he works a little better in a faction, which maybe solo-wise he's a little boring, but I think he has good size, and I don't think he's terrible. I don't know. Maybe it's the guys because I've seen him have good matches, and I'm not going to sit here and say he's good. He's but he has that size. He has something with the look. It's just maybe he's boring. Maybe something's not hitting. And look, no disrespect to the Performance Center, but I'm not gonna judge how somebody's over based on that Performance Center, based on everything that goes on there. I can't. If you give this guy on a Monday, on a SmackDown when he's ready and he build him up as a heel, maybe I could compare him to a Brody King, maybe.
Fair.
He could be a solid guy, and he can work as a heel when he's ready. But I don't know. I agree. But what's going on with the men's roster? I mean, I don't know. I like I said, the build. No one cares about Tony D'Angelo. I'm gonna say this.
Yes, thank you. That was my next.
I do not give a shit about Tony D'Angelo. He had something there that I was sort of kind of interested. In 2025 with the whole mob thing with Stax was his little hitman. I used to make fun of the family. All that shit's out the door because what the hell is he doing now? He stands out there with his beard. He does nothing. He does nothing for me. Him and Shiloh Hill don't do jack shit. The only people I am enjoying on this roster, I can name probably 3. Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, and probably Miles Bourne, because I like his look and I like the way he wrestles. He just needs to be featured more. But those are the 3 guys that I think you could build NXT around. It's just what happens in a year or so when Ricky Saints and Ethan Page get called up. There's no way you're keeping Ethan Page on NXT for another year. No. There's no way you keep Ethan Page. He is better than he's so good. Ricky Saints, I mean, you can keep him there for another year. I don't care. I care less. He can go to the main roster now and stay in NXT. Either way he goes, I think he'll be fine. Ethan Page is starting to have nothing else to do in NXT. So my thing is give him the title, give him a run, and get him out, and let him go to SmackDown.
Let him go. Yeah. Here's the thing when it comes to Tony D'Angelo, seen that act for a while with the NXT with Stax, 2 Dimes, if you remember in the beginning there, and of course with him, Adriana Rizzo, which recovering from an ACL tear, returning off of television. Luca Crucifino cut his hair. No, he doesn't even look like. My God, talk about like a Samson, because he feels like he's. My goodness, ugh. He cut his hair and it's like he's not even featured on television. That's the worst mistake he did. Whoever told him to cut his hair, killed his look. I don't know when it comes to Tony Angelo. What's your mission statement? He hasn't gotten a microphone, got arrested. All right, you're quiet. You're coming out. You're there. You're turning out to be another version of Elijah. I mean, give this guy I don't know, to play the same 3 chords or something, because that's what he feels like. Coming out, and who wants to walk with Tony D'Angelo? I don't know. That's the problem when it's going on here with Tony D. I'm not getting invested in him. It's been a while. Something's going to happen with this ladder match. Like, who is really the winner? Why? And here's the thing that bothers me and pisses me off. Why have we not gotten anyone from TNA to be represented in this ladder match? They have no problem sticking LFG wrestlers to wrestle for TNA titles. Heck, the number 1 contenders for the knockout titles are NXT wrestlers. We're going to get into that right now. Where are the TNA representation to go after NXT World Title? You telling me you could have a Steve Macklin? He lives in Orlando, Florida. You telling me he can't show up at the Performance Center for a qualifying match? You could have had that on your TAA, instead of giving us a cringy Elegance brand aftermath crap. You could have gave us a qualifying match for 2 TNA talents to try to qualify for NXT title matches. Maybe Rich Swann. Even if they're not going to win, Chris, a Rich Swann in a ladder match doing moves out there with a Shawn, with different wrestlers like Shawn Legacy and interesting. Would love to see something different, something innovative, something fresh. With some TNA representation. You telling me you just had 2 shows in Mexico for AAA? You telling me you couldn't have one of those guys from AAA Mexico qualify to try to win the NXT title? Even though they're not going to win it, guys. I understand that. But that's you know what? That shows collaboration with multi-brands. Now people want to see, oh, damn, who's this? Let's say Mr. Iguana, because he's the most popular one. Damn, who's this Mr. Iguana? Everyone knows who he is, but damn. He's on Tubi on Saturdays. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna tune in. I'm gonna watch. Damn, this show, Rich Swann. I didn't know he was this good. Which we do, but let's play that stupid game that no one knows who these wrestlers are, and you get to see them on the CW. Showcase it. Why are we not having a couple qualifying matches for some TNA talent and AAA involved in this for that NXT World Title? It kind of you're trying to tell us that title is prestige over the TNA World Title, because they don't want anyone touching that title that they're not NXTers. So I'm having a little bit of disconnect with that, Chris.
No, I agree. They had no problem bringing TNA guys to the show when Trick and all of them were there. So, and they had no problem bringing those clowns like Stacks and I don't want to call Lexus King a clown, but the people he's surrounding with are clowns, in my opinion. They have no problem bringing those guys to NXT to win championships, but yeah, won't.
Yeah, they use the lower NXT wrestlers that need the reps to go work TNA, which we understand why. But
you can't use the higher TNA guys to come to NXT
to help with the reps for the younger kids that you're trying to evolve for a better experience, especially, so they could get the work rate in with. And I understand
doing it with Leon, but it's like once they do it with somebody, it's like we won't see him in TNA for a little bit.
Fair. But also with all these traveling issues that all companies are going to have, and they're going to have it starting today too with the bad weather across the United States. Mm-hmm. It's now more smart when you have a working collaboration to use talents that are in your neighborhood or in your backyard, where they can't make it for television, especially for the next 2 weeks that TNA is going to be recorded. Then this is where you could have had a Steve Macklin, work and get some reps to WWE, or guys that right now are Jason Hotch. I wouldn't mind seeing Jason Hotch try to qualify for TNA for WWE World Title. Even if they're not going to win, Chris, but they're representing TNA. If you don't think they're going to win the gold, but it's a good exposure for people to see a Jason Hotch on NXT TV. He goes, damn, that kid is pretty good in that order. Who's this order for? That's my point. The television exposure for these younger kids. Oh, look, right now, Sinner and Saints, they're not doing anything. I like them as a tag team. People didn't like Sinner and Saints when they were aligned with Josh Alexander when they were the Northern Army. I liked those two tag teams. I think they work as a tag team. I think they're fine. Give them some opportunities. Get some reps. They're not getting it on TNA TV, NXT television. Come on, help them work the relationship so they can see these kids get working and get work and get some bumps, some television times. I don't know what's going on here, Chris.
Can I ask you a serious question?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the NXT Tag Team Champions?
Dark State.
Oh, what? I thought Hank and Tank. Oh my God! Gee, this is okay. Wow. See, this is how bad it is. They don't even show they don't even show their tag team division.
And they're taking on OTM this Tuesday for the tag team titles, which I could see OTM taking those titles.
Good for those guys. OTM. I think those guys are cool. I like their look, and I want those young guys to get freshened up and opportunities. But this is my thing. You're gonna tell me you can't have maybe the Hardys still involved with that? And we won't see the Righteous on NXT. I want to see the Righteous on NXT. Vincent and Dutch. Come on.
I dig that.
I want that. They have slowly become my new favorite tag team in pro wrestling. Slowly. I want those guys on NXT.
You don't tell me I have a little bit of a side mission, side quest, because it seems like Tatum Paxley has not finished with Izzy Dane. But you have the Calling. Two guys that are a little creepy, and Nico and Sean Spears. You don't think Tatum Paxley, with her connections working in TNA, with the Righteous and the like Calling that. And the Tatum Paxley and the Righteous taking on the Calling.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Come on. Like let's work in creative relationships. Like let's go. Come on. Who's this Calling? And who's the Righteous now? Because they had them 2 times in the Performance Center and they did not sign Dutch or Vincent. They've been there. They tried out a couple times. I've seen them personally. I said hello to Vincent and Dutch when going into the Performance Center several times, and they never pulled the trigger to put these guys on WWE television. Now you have the working relationship. Bring them on. Let them team up. Let them go. Let's go. So now when they beat the Hardys for the tag team champions, they're now, we saw them on NXT and they teamed up with Tatum. Damn, that's cool. Tatum, they're a little cuckoo out there. Come on, Chris. Come on.
I agree 100%, dude. I love that. I love that idea. Yeah, dude. Righteous has slowly become my favorite tag team in wrestling.
We dig it. We dig it. We dig it 100%. Yeah. So here's the good. That was the part of NXT. The other part of NXT that had me excited were at least the women. The women continues to be the backbone and carrying NXT. That triple threat tag team #1 contenders match, it was. I'm gonna say this: that was one of Laney Reed's best matches with teaming and Fatal Influence. Mm-hmm. Great job by Laney Reed. I know she's good. Everybody likes her, but I didn't quite see it. But I got to give credit and give her credit as much slack as we give her. Great opportunity working the tag team. Fallon Henley, they work good. The 2 Southern Cowgirls work really good. For Fatal Influence. Yeah, they had me yee-hawing all over the place. In defeat, though, I see Zaria continue. They finally maybe booking her the way we've been screaming and yelling and ranting ever since her match with Lee Ying Lee. Build her as this powerhouse, the F5, to get the finish. Ruka with the double Soul Snatcher, letting her get the pin. You still see where Soul gets a little annoyed whenever Zaria tags herself in. And they were selling the shoulder from Genesis, Chris. The right tag teams, in my opinion, won. Because Binder done that with Fatal Influence. I don't know if they were going to take on the Elegance brand, because if they do that, if Elegance brand were to take on the Fatal Influence, then you have to put JC Jane back in the knockouts scenery. Because when we find out on Thursday. And we're going to talk about that, what happened with Ash by Elegance. But let's stick with NXT. We'll go right into TNA right now, and we'll do All Elite. Chris, right tag team, to me, going to the Knockouts title, and if they are, don't bitch, cry, and moan when NXT takes those knockouts tag team titles?
Who?
Zarya and Soruka. I think they're winning those titles.
Okay, yeah. 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 Could that be a way for them to finally split?
The only way I can see that, the numbers game, because we know that they're the number one contenders. And the reason why I say the numbers game, and speaking of numbers, we're going to tell you how to save 20% off your next order from our new affiliate sponsor as we give you a pause and we'll get right back.
Sports Jedi Nation, you already know how I move. I don't start my day without two things: standing firm in what I believe in, and a cup of coffee that actually represents those values. That's why I rock with Blackout Coffee. It's a 100% American company, unapologetic, patriotic, pro-Second Amendment, and anti-woke nonsense, no corporate posturing, no virtual signing, just real coffee for people who still believe in God, family, and freedoms. Every bag is a roast right here in my beautiful state of Florida, and it's shipped straight to your door. Fresh, bold, no compromises. If you need to hit the ground running, the Morning Reaper I suggest, a medium roast that goes smooth, powerful, and kicks like a mule. Support a company that actually gives a damn about this country. Go to Blackout Coffee Rumba. Use my promo code RUMBA for 20% off, or Sports Jedi 20 of your first order. Blackout Coffee. Wake up, stand up, never back down. Fuel your freedom. Real coffee with real values. A bold, backed by freedom. Wake up and think free. And may the sports be with you.
All right. Thank you to our sponsor, affiliate there, Blackout Coffee. Use my promo code Sports Jedi 20 and save 20% off. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Rumba. You can also type Rumba and save 20% as well. Blackout Coffee, American made, patriotic, and unapologetic, getting you started in the morning like every one of us, every hardworking American. Support a company that is American strong. Here from Florida, by the way. So from my beautiful state of Florida, support and, of course, use our promo code. So we're going to the TNA. Part that to me gave me a little bit of heebie-jeebies was, and I know we wanted to talk about the starting of the show, but let's go right into since we're talking about the women's tag team, the Knockouts tag team, where the Ash by Elegance, it was actually a one-on-one. It was M by Elegance taking on Indy Hartwell, where we get to the match where we see the numbers game. And Ash, throughout the course of the match, telling the women not to cheat. No. It comes out so cringe-worthy. I don't know. It was very Pornhub-ish. It was just bad. I was like, okay. And I remember telling you on the watch along, maybe this is a way for the Elegance brand to beat up after the match Ash, get the emotional connection where now the Elegance brand is going to be totally hated, negative, because let's face it, when you see two beautiful women like Heather and Em, you really don't want to boo them because they are beautiful, and then the Cashmere is so entertaining, so fun. And I mean, you say the best manager in all of wrestling right now. You can argue it. I love when George the Iceman comes out. I love it. He does the heel zing, but you still want to cheer the girls because they're gorgeous. They're But then I'm like, wait, what a way of getting heel to take on and beat up Ash. But then the numbers game, the Ying Lee and Zaya Brookside, they feel like they're a bunch of white rice. They got to be everywhere. They got to be in every little thing coming out for the rescue for Indy Hartwell. First and foremost, it should have been Vicious Vicky. I don't know why TNA hasn't given that young lady a contract. They should be signing Vicious Vicky, teaming up with Indy Hartwell. I mentioned that. But then we get the numbers game, and then Ash does the heel turn. And I have a little bit of a disconnect because that's not the first time we're going to see it that night. But then Ash, I like when Heather knocks her on her ass. I say, here we go. And they're going to turn on Ash. Then Ash turns back again. And then they didn't really, you hear it, but they didn't really emphasize it. I'm back. Is she back, Chris, or she's not back?
This felt like a fucking bootleg Seth Rollins storyline.
And they have gold there. I'm glad you mentioned that. Go ahead.
I mean, it's a disconnect. I have nothing really much to add. I think you nailed it on the head because there. I don't know why. First off, is she gonna get a like? I just don't. I don't understand it. Like, why would you drop the title? Like, I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm so lost. We talked about that off air, and I'm just so lost. So
Like,
what's gonna happen with Ash? Is she gonna get new tag team partners? Like, I'm so confused. Is the concierge gonna come with her? Like, I'm so confused. It is a little bit cringy, but I mean, the whole heel turn was a little bit cringe. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't understand it. So she didn't ever really clarified if she was coming back or not. Like, if she was gonna, did she? Unless I missed something. Like,
she said something in between her breath, or the microphones caught it. I don't know. It's like she's the type of, when she talks, you want to hear it, but then you phase out. You start, hey, I don't know, and I hate to. It's like, I don't know, Chris. I hate to say that with Ash.
I mean, dude, Mr. Elegance really isn't fucking helping this either.
And I try to say, have an open mind with him, give him some time. He could turn into a Kid Wilson, but the patience, the rope is getting really short on him. The patience is running out a little bit at a time with him. But now it's now what he got. Man, he got 5 members, where now you got 2 males. You need the conciliere. I think you need the mouthpiece, because neither one of them, the ladies, are going to captivate you to have talk to you in promos. You need the Iceman for the hype. There's just one too many women right now. And I always told you that M is going to be the breakout star of that group, but she's not there ready for that breakout moment from M. Not yet. She has a lot of good heel mannerisms in her. Mm-hmm. I love her heel mannerisms. I can see Heather, the baby face, out of the H by the baby face of the group. But the in-ring is not quite there for that story to tell. She's going to get lost in the sauce if they break her out of the Elegance brand. I'm worried now when you have the superior talents of Sol Ruca and Zarya to take for that knockout against this Elegance brand, it's going to feel like Little League versus a single A team, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to justify it. Maybe now the numbers game with Ash, causing a distraction, and the conciliere and the male bimbo that's there with them could cause something, and that's the only way I could see the Elegance brand retaining their titles, their tag team titles, and then maybe we get what you said, that heel turn. I'm not going to hold my breath, because we always say that all the time, and nothing has happened with Zarya and Ruca heading that heel turn, but I got to get something more with Ash, her promos, her segments. It feels something out of like she's rehearsed this on OnlyFans with Paige Van Sant and Mandy Rose. It just feels like that's what we're seeing on AMC, like the beginning of a freaking pornographic movie. The acting, it's terrible. It's terrible.
I agree.
What was that girl's name that was all over the national title game? Danger. What's her name? The girl that she was crying for for Miami. The
oh yeah. I know you're talking about. Yeah,
she acts better. She has better acting skills, dude. Come on. We want you to succeed. We're happy that you're back in the ring, but you could have saved it. You didn't learn from Unreal. You could have saved that return back to the ring moment to save your girls' tag team titles from Zarya and Sol Ruca, because it would have been taking the focus like, oh, damn, she's back. And that's a way of beating Zarya and Sol Ruca, because you swerve and turn. Now they see this coming a mile away, because you already declared that you're back in the ring. You're an in-ring competitor again. You missed the opportunity there. Who gave the green light on that in creative? Oh yeah, let's do this on a one-on-one. It wasn't even a tag team match, Chris. It was a one-on-one. Where do they really need all that plunder from Ash to do that there? They couldn't have saved it for No Surrender on the PLE, where you're gonna have the number one. They're gonna go for those knockouts tag team titles. That's when Ash should have came back. I'm like, oh shit, she's back. And now I can see why Zarya and Sol Ruka lost the knockouts opportunity, didn't win. But no, they just blew it all. Again, where it's going on with creative when it comes to total nonstop action. I mean, the my goodness, that was the bad. The show was a good show. The second show on AMC was a very good show. That segment, though, was the one thing that had a bit of a disconnect. The opening contest with Moose and Cedric Alexander, where, it kind of felt like a number one contenders for the X Division title. We know they were supposed to be a triple threat. We get the winner of Cedric Alexander. Él gana la lucha. Él es el number one contender of TNA for probably for the X Division. But we see Moose shaking the hand and doing that sportsmanship. Un caballero from Moose shaking the hand. But later on that night, when JDC announces his replacement, we get Bear Brunson. We were like, okay, it wasn't really a big homie the clown shock. He comes out, Bear Brunson, but then it got juicy because I did not see Eddie Edwards drop down to his knee and give the low blow to his buddy JDC. You did? All right, cool. I didn't.
I remember. I was
I got you. But I'm going with the story here. I'm playing along.
I don't understand that.
It might have been as cringe as Ash by Elegance playing along, but yeah, I'm playing along.
I didn't understand it.
But then here's the one thing that I loved when they went off the air: the conflicting look on Alicia Edwards. Because not only that, we see Cedric come out for the save, but stealing a little bit from Seth Rollins. I wish they would have stole something from Rollins. Was waiting for the turn from Ash by Elegance and on a pay-per-view, but we get the chair shot from Cedric turning heel on Moose. Moose is out of the system. A system reboot. Moose is out. JDC's out. In Bear Brunson. In Cedric Alexander. Honor No More vibes I got at the end of that showing there. Now, where's Alicia Edwards' loyalty going to lie in? With her husband or Moose?
That's what I don't understand, because why would Alicia Edwards line with somebody who's not going to be on the show anymore? She's going to line herself with Moose. That's it. No, I don't know why she wouldn't have been that female heel that the system needs as a heel. I mean, is it because they have that already with Tasha Steelz and they don't need to? I don't know. I'm thinking like that because, TNA's, they don't have a big roster, so maybe they want to keep it, you have one heel identity thing, but I don't know. I have no idea why this heel turn is taking place, especially with Eddie Edwards and the fear fired thing, and
yes.
Doesn't he? Yeah, like I just.
Let's get into that one too. Let's get into that one. Like you said, we don't know because Eddie Edwards earlier that evening in that broadcast secures himself a briefcase on the Fire or Feast portion of the show. He's one of those names with a briefcase. Eric Young, a name with the briefcase, as well as Trey Miguel, which we're going to talk about that as well. Trey Miguel has one. Who was the one I'm leaving out? One more I'm leaving out. Got three out of the four. Steve Macklin is one of them. It's Eddie Edwards, Eric Young, Trey Miguel. There we go. We got the names. We got all four out there. It's tough there. Here's the one thing. Eddie Edwards doing all this thing with the system. Does he get? I wouldn't be surprised if he gets fired. He gets all that, and they do all that system because Alicia Edwards was like, "What the hell are we doing?" Like for the storyline, and then it's another TNA not paying something off because you're going to leave Cedric, Myers, Brunson. That's it. Those are the three because Edwards get fired. He's gone. Don't know if he. I wouldn't be surprised because they have a little young daughter. I believe about 6 years old. Around that age, school, the traveling, going to TNA, they take their daughter everywhere. But that's a tough one, grueling to travel with a young child to all the different venues that they go to and traveling. I don't know if that's something where Alicia might want to stay home and Eddie as well. all that good. Don't know. I hate to bring that personal life, but that's something reality. Maybe we could see him getting fired for the Feast of Fire. We talked about the different members. Do you see? And I said this with imagine Trey Miguel just got fired from AEW, gets the contract, he's fired again from TNA. I don't think that's gonna happen, bro.
I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think he knows he's there. He knows TNA's he's back for TNA, so I don't think he's gonna be the one fired. Yeah, I know. I mean, the situation is what it is. He's back in TNA. Obviously nobody cares at AMC of obviously what happened. So
yeah, we'll talk about that. We got a lot to talk about that because that sparked a civil war in the IWC with content creators, reactionary podcasters. It did.
We can't comment. Spark a civil war.
It was the tipping point. That was the genesis of the IWC
I see. Okay.
war, and then that was the Chris Van Fleet was the over the top. They did
okay.
Yes, indeed. And yes, let's go with this. Let's talk about this one here. Who do we see? Because I could make an argument where Eric Young could be Mike Santana's opponent, because he's such an OG with the TNA brand. You know, Kazarian, an old friend of his. He was talking about the cleanse is coming, which a cleanse we haven't seen yet. You know, we're against Mike Santana, the heel, to breed on him. Now Eddie Edwards turning heel. I can see Eddie Edwards now breeding on Mike Santana. A little bit of side quest. Before we get Nick Nemeth and Mike, we'll talk about Mike Santana's segment promos that were just on fire. Steve Macklin. Now reports were rumored that he's re-signed with the company, but I think I said we have the privilege of interviewing a lot of TNA wrestlers, some others as well. And there was a couple of podcasting people that they will go on and announce their signings. We never heard him officially reset on anyone's podcast that he has re-signed with TNA. So his name is up to debate of being one of those to pick a fire briefcase. You got to be worried if you're a Macklin fan going forward.
I mean, yeah, but I think he'll be there. I think
I hope so. When I think of TNA right now, the current TNA brand right now, I think of Macklin.
No,
he's a face. He's a face of that company currently right now, along with the others that we know, like a Santana, Nemeth, and so forth. Don't know. It leaves Eric Young to worry if he's the one that gets fired. I don't know for Eric Young. He's been there, done that. He's been fired before, but he has gotten so much phenomenal shape, Chris. Have you seen his social media posts? He is ripped.
I saw, dude. He was right in front of us at Slammiversary.
Why would he leave? Like the way he looks why would he get fired unless I don't know.
I believe it's because it has to be because he's upset about lack of opportunity or whatever.
Well, if you look at that AMC preview show when they showed the D-level celebrities that caused a civil war outbreak on IWC, and then they showed the reactionary podcasters, and he's sitting there with like really pissed off, like pouting. That's maybe he was upset that he should have been on match
podcasters.
And he should have been on that show wrestling. Yeah.
He was like, why am I here with the fake clowns and why am I not in the ring?
Maybe that's a sign to tell for the future. We don't know. One thing we do know about the future we hear is we see our guy Mike Santana, the TNA world champion, in the middle of the ring. I love that he sits down in that chair and he has that addressing the TNA faithful, and he looks in that camera. He looks and he pretty much says he's got a lot of slings and arrows coming his way from the feast match, from the Call Your Shot, for guys that just want to be number one contenders. He's getting it from all slings and arrows, and he's ready. He did this for himself, and he proved that he's pretty much on top. He's ready to go for all challengers, all takes, and he's keeping it a buck. He's keeping it real. And Mike Santana connects with the people. He comes through the people still. He's not one of those fake guys that, I came through the crowd, now I'm the champion. Now you're not even going to, I'm going to go through the entrance where you're not even going to see me. I love that Mike still keeps that entrance going. He gets the crowd going everywhere he goes, hyped up. When you hear Born Nasty, you get excited and you get invested in Mike Santana, and especially that promo backstage with Nick Nemeth. Nick Nemeth getting in and, trying to be a schmuck, condescending douche. Once he mentioned his daughter's name, Mike, that switch turned on Mike like a bulldog. I love that with Nemeth and and Santana. Are you enjoying it? Do you think Nemeth calls a shot honorably, like an honorable guy? So, you know what? I'm just going to challenge you. You think he's going to be a crack weasel?
I think he's going to be a crap weasel.
All right.
It's going to be unexpected. We're all going to be pissed.
You're going to be pissed. Did you get pissed when we saw him, Nick Nemeth goes backstage and he sees a bunch of guys in the back playing video games and BDE and his friends?
That was great. I loved it. I loved it. Everything was said right. And I think they did that to mock people like us that hate BDE.
I think so, too. I know Nick Nemeth is one of those. He's a comedy guy. He gets it. He gets all that good stuff going forward.
It was what it was, but I liked it. I liked what Nick Nemeth said, but I think it was just a rip on people like us that hate it.
They hated it. Now, let's get to this here. Trey Miguel. Back in TNA, you know, Trey Miguel, this is what I said on my review a little bit earlier was, this is when you try to throw rocks in a glass house. You knew that TNA was going to debut their new show Thursday, the day before yours. You knew that you had a big show in Orlando, Florida, where 3 out of the 4 Rascals live in Orlando, Florida. I don't know where Trey Miguel lives, so I know for sure the 3 of the 4 live in this area in Orlando. Their debut would have been even more special in front of their home if they would have waited 7 days. But he had to be the condescending douchebag. That's what it is, Tony Khan. That's what he is. No matter how much you think he's great for wrestling, he's nothing but a condescending douchebag. He had to sign and put the Rascals sign and all that to kind of hurt the AMC TNA premiere. He could have waited and let them speculate. No Rascals tonight, and now more people would have tuned into Dynamite in Orlando personally to see if the Rascals were to show up. But no, he kind of let it out of the bag a little too early, and it backfired. Trey Miguel put on his social media. We all know the stuff that he's signed with AEW. Then a couple of days later, he's pulled out, released, fired, removed, whatever, from Warner Brothers up above. It sparked a lot of controversy, a lot of conversation throughout the IWC media. Who has the right sources, who's shilling, who's not shilling, who's doing this and that. At the end of the day, we will never know the real truth why Trey Miguel is no longer part of All Elite Wrestling. But the speculation of Tony Khan and the media just hiding. Did you think Warner Brothers Discovery really told them not to use him?
Why else would Tony signed him? I'm not defending Tony. I don't like Tony Khan, everything he does. Why did Tony sign him if he wasn't going to? If this was going to happen, why did Tony give him a contract? Why did Trey Miguel sign the contract? Why did Tony give him the contract? Why was it just Trey Miguel? If he didn't want Trey Miguel, he would have got Myron Reed, Zachary Wentz, and Desmond Xavier. But he wanted all 4 of them, and he signed all 4 of them. And he's on TNA, isn't he? Why would that? And why would this not make me believe that this was a Warner Brothers call? If Tony Khan signed the man and he wanted him to be on his TV show, but he's not, why?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this here. What did Trey Miguel do or say that warranted Warner Brothers Discovery said I can't have him on television? I know it, but just let's rehash it to our.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know he said anything until the other day. I guess he made some Jewish homophobic comment, which I don't know. But again, I'm the reason I am not giving Tony Khan the full blame on this is because this it's not it's comparable to an extent. The Jay Briscoe. You don't think Tony Khan wanted Jay Briscoe on TV if he could have? No, it was a Warner Brothers call.
Okay, fair.
Tony Khan signed Trey Miguel, and he wasn't allowed to use him. Why? Because Warner Brothers probably told him he couldn't.
And this is what sparked a lot of conversation, a lot of debate.
I don't agree with JD. I don't agree at all with what he says about this situation. I'm the complete opposite.
I was going to say where Zachary Wentz lost his WWE contract dressing up as a Nazi and doing a Hitler thing with a mustache.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that offended Trey Miguel, anti-Jewish, whatever he said, homophobic slurs or statements, whatever the case was, I don't know. What's exonerating Zachary Wentz with the, last I saw the Nazis and the German army the Nazi German army really killed over millions of Jewish people in the Holocaust. If we're going to go that route, this is something that's a lot of mess. This is, and you know what? They're all at fault. Here's why I blame Khan. You could, if you weren't being so spiteful and being a schmuck for wanting putting them on that Wednesday before the AMC premiere to do it out of spite, if you would have waited a 1 full week, calendar week, where you were going to debut on Wednesday on Orlando, all this shit would have been avoided with your Warner Brothers Discovery, because all we heard, they flew him in and they signed him right away on Phoenix, and they put the graphics immediately, and they did a vignette for Dynamite for Collision that same night, because you couldn't fucking wait. You couldn't wait until one whole entire week when they were all in Orlando to debut them. But no, you had to rush it right away because you wanted to be petty and you wanted to be a douche to stick it to TNA's premiere, their first premiere on AMC. And then now that shit blew up in their face. Cuando tú practicas mal, you get bad. Calm as a bitch.
I mean, that's fair. I do think he could have researched, I guess, or again, we don't know how long the conversations have taken place between Khan and the Rascals. I mean, when did their contracts end compared to when they aired that thing on Dynamite? I don't know off the top of my head. So if it's within a week or two span, I assume there was some communication between Khan and the Rascals leading up to, hey, this is when we're going to do it. Now, did he put it on the AMC premiere to be petty? Yes. They're all three of them are now, TNA is now in competition. Okay, so they're gonna AEW now, they're gonna do that. Like how WWE, don't be surprised if they start it's gonna happen, bro. TNA is now a competition to the pro wrestling industry with them getting a TV deal. So I'm not surprised that is the game that Tony Khan played. But I still believe that Tony Khan signed the guy with intentions to use him, and he got pulled off. I don't think it was a Tony Khan call. All a Tony Khan call. Now, is everyone at fault? Yes, because I agree with your reason why Tony Khan's at fault. You could have waited a little bit. Yes, you wanted to stick to TNA. Yes, but I also don't agree. I also don't think he was like, "Yo, I can't use you, man. I can't use you." No, I think somebody above made that final call. But
then, okay, all right, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Do you think he didn't learn his lesson from Andrade from fucking 3 months earlier, putting him on without reading his non-compete clause contract?
But Trey Miguel didn't have a non-compete clause.
But that's fine. I get you that part. But running it up from his legal team, you know what? Let me check out with my television partners. That's where the legal team steps in. You know what? I want to sign these guys, Tony. Tony, whoever his legal team, I want to sign Trey Miguel, Jack Reds, the Rascals. I want to check out. I need you to check everything in legals. Make sure we could not breaching contract with the competitors, TNA, and also their Warner Brother Discovery friendly, or we could put them on our television immediately. We don't want to, because you already had. This is the growing pains that he's not learning. You already had that with the Briscoes. This is not the first time that supposedly the network don't want certain talents. So
yeah, and it was never on.
All right, so you could have cleared it. This is why, again, the 1 week of waiting would have not hurt the Rascals and All Elite Wrestling if you would have done it, because you had a whole entire week to go and run it to the executives and Warner Brothers Discoveries that you're signing these talents. Secondly, you could have. Make sure that that there is no languages that they're not able to compete in AEW with TNA's contract, or they completely are free agents. You could have saved yourself the legal issues and the backstage back and forth and all the embarrassment of firing, not firing, speculation, if you would have just waited and just done the proper channels with your legal teams. I'm pretty sure those lawyers that he has are retainers, and they get paid a lot of money to check all these contracts. Obviously, it looks like it's a fucking Mickey Mouse operations when you have a situation like Andrade happening months before, and then you have, where the executives had to jump in for the Briscoes. You know what? There's a blueprint already. There's a guidelines and standards when it comes to Warner Brothers Discoveries of what they put on their television or what talents and what. You think you should clear it before you make an announcement and say you're going to bring so and so wrestlers on? He didn't clear it. let's face it, he didn't fucking clear it. He didn't clear it. He didn't do his diligence, and
That's
it fell
fair.
and it fell on his face. It sucks
fair.
because we would have loved to see Trey Miguel make as much money as possible. At the end of the day, we're not paying. We're gonna supply. We're gonna supply and demand their talents to a certain degree. But the companies that want to overpay for their talents, you know what? TNA wants to pay them less than AEW, and they take more money in AEW. Who are we to tell them not to take the AEW money? Again, it's not that we don't want to see Trey Miguel in AEW. Is that it sucks that he's not going to make the biggest payday that he was going to make because the fucking owner didn't read the standards and practice of the companies in place for himself, and it hurted it. It makes everybody looks bad. It makes it a point where the kid wanted to walk away from the company, from the business, period. He was tired of all the bullshit politics of the business, and he was going to walk away, and TNA bought him in, gave him that life raft to come back in and wrestle. Great that his talent and his artwork is going to be seen in TNA wrestling. Hopefully he makes it to where he's the most desirable talent in all of professional wrestling 2026 for Trey Miguel. So, that's the thing. This is the problem. And you can't say, well, TNA, AEW is a new company. They're going to have 6 years, 7 years. But when you go out there huffing and puffing that you're the best wrestle, where we don't have 40-year-old men taking shots as with the main event scene, and we're this and that, and we're this and that. And meanwhile, you do goofy stuff where we're in your own legality of lawyers and contract signings and who, when, tampering and being petty, and it bites you in the face. That's why they mock the company and they put the company through the dirt because of stupidity of their own selves. They shoot themselves in their own foot, man. This has got to stop with them if they want to grow. This is where it's got to stop. And then their fan base gets so offensive or pitchforky. Well, stop. Tell your owner. Your owner's the head of the snake. Or he's the one that's the goofy one that's bringing you guys all this slings and arrows and goof and being butt of the jokes. Everybody likes to run and say laugh out loud TNA. Come on, AEW is shooting themselves on the foot with all this stupidity. What they're doing, it doesn't help them. And it sucks is they got a good in-ring product with their wrestlers and their talent, but the behind-the-stage stuff is just comical. It's just comical. It is just comical when it comes to all elite wrestling. I don't know what's going to happen with them going forward when it comes to viewerships and stuff. Look, they had a show in Orlando, Florida, in my city, Orlando, Florida, in the Addison Arena, arena that they had World's End. They have a good turnout there, but they drew 1,700 less people than their last show there. Is that something that worries you? And especially in Orlando, where when they come here, people show out. There is a fan base in Orlando for All Elite Wrestling. You got 1,700 less people attending. There's an issue there. And then he keeps signing more and more wrestlers to the roster. More and more wrestlers. Who cares? That's his money. He wants to spend it. Great that he has that money to bring those talents in. But then you get frustrated talents because you're Chris. They had 1,700 less people in Addison Arena for TNA this Wednesday than they normally do.
Oh, when we did our first ever review show on AEW in 2000.
Last time they ran that venue.
That's the last time they ran that venue, right? When
yes.
we did the review. Holy shit! World's End 2024. Wow. Look, AEW. At the end of the day, it's no secret that I like the company. I mean, do I like it now? No, I think it's garbage. I think the company right now is really boring. I think there's nothing for me to look forward to. But at the end of the day, I will always have a spot for AEW. I would like to see them grow. I'm not like some people that I see right now that just completely shit on it and hate it. I don't know. That's not me. I think they're okay. It's just the owner has problems. I don't think their management is professional. And it kind of bites the talent in the ass because, look, I think the talent's fine. Like, you don't really hear much of the talent, do you, anymore? I know you might have maybe in the early days of AEW, but you don't really hear much drama talent-wise. So you only hear it with Tony. That's kind of the only thing. And look, do I like everything? Am I a fan of Tony Khan? I'm not his biggest fan. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm not a fan, but I don't also think he's a bad person to a degree when it comes to, like, I don't know. Like, for example, like, I appreciate him giving us AEW, whether you like it or not. Let's be honest. I appreciate, because when there's nothing to do on a Saturday night and I get to watch guys like Edge and guys that people know wrestle for a secondary promotion. I mean, it's cool at the end of the day if you're an actual fan of wrestling. I think it's dope. So I like in the early days of AEW, like, he's a fan and he gave us the fans what he wanted too soon, which also bites him in the ass. But I can appreciate from that, right? He's very, I see him at the VIPs are affordable, right? The AEW all experiences, they're $1,000, which that seems a lot, but you can't. That's how much a standard ticket costs for WWE nowadays. So he cares about the fans. He's a wrestling fan. That's also a problem. He's too much of a wrestling fan. He's like, this kind of proves it, right? Because he was a big Monday Night Wars fan. So when he looks at TNA, it's like, yo, let's get these guys on to fuck with TNA. Like, it's just the management. I'm always going to root for AEW at the end of the day. I don't like them more than TNA. I like TNA, even though TNA right now, some of this shit's really cringy. I still think they don't insult my intelligence like All Elite Wrestling does. But I just I don't know how many times I've just given up. Like Kev knows, I'm a day one AEW guy. I'm the AEW fan here. I've given up. It's been 6 years. I've seen the worst. I've seen the best. Right now, it's nothing. There's nothing to look forward to. So, I hope they do well. I hope they figure it out. I mean, their pay-per-views are fine, all in Texas. I'll always watch those because their biggest show, or London, whatever. But, I mean, they got to do something, man. With all these people you're bringing in, you can't give me anything to look forward to.
And the roster is going to get bigger. Reports of Killer Kelly coming in, Tommaso Ciampa reports coming in. You had Bishop Dyer had a dark match wrestle. I don't think he's going to sign with AEW because Tony would have waited, couldn't even wait to put that All Elite graphic if Bishop would have agreed to a contract with All Elite Wrestling. So I don't think it's a one-off like Scotty 2 Hotty did a couple times last time they were in the Addison Arena. But he's going to grow more talents. The WWE releases are coming soon. Then when are we going to start getting again the recirculating graphics of AJ Styles All Elite? That. He's going to have a conversation and it's going to reach out to AJ Styles to possibly bring in here to AEW.
What, to fight up or beat up Kenny Omega? Dude, I would have maybe wanted to see that match 3 years ago. Not anymore. Like, if AJ's finishing with the company that's not WWE, it's TNA.
I totally agree with you there. And listen, I gotta give, as much as right now it seems like we're really negative on AEW, and we are right now. But I'm gonna give you a really good positive. Great job for the owner, because to put that main event he gave in Orlando on Wednesday, Kevin Knight versus Swerve Strickland. Even though we knew Kevin Knight had no shot in hell to beat Swerve, but he put something different. He put younger talent there. Because I did not watch it, ladies and gentlemen. I was very exhausted from work. I did not watch. Normally, I've started doing watch-alongs. I was too tired. My point was, when I looked at the show rundown, I thought I could have sworn Josh Alexander and Kenny Omega was your main event, especially having Josh Alexander on Busted Open talking up a big game earlier in the day. And when I saw the show sheet rundown and results, I go, oh, damn, they were in the main event. Kudos to Tony Khan of not making them, making the younger talents, guys that are future builders of the company, their main event. Because let's face it, Omega is in about another year, 6 months. It's time to hang it up. He's washed. Is he entertaining? Yeah, but he's washed. He even looks it. He doesn't even look his sprinkle self. He looks like
Absolutely
he's been.
Not.
He looks like an old catcher's mitt out there. It still could get the job done, but it's still old catcher's mitt, brittle, ready. It's time for a new one. That's what he looks like. It doesn't diminish his Hall of Fame career at all. But it's just aesthetically, it doesn't look. It's done. It looks like really Mays with the Mets. That's what it looks like. If you're an old baseball fan, or that's what exactly it looks like. It doesn't. It's like, yeah, Peyton Manning with the Broncos, even though Peyton won a Super Bowl with them. Good luck by the Broncos, by the way. Yeah, that's what it looks like with Kenny Omega, and this is where All Elite Wrestling starts moving towards the younger talent, maybe. But it's up to the fan base to have they have to have that patience that we're asking NXT wrestlers to have with the Evolve. And because the only way TNA is AEW is really going to get to that next level, back to where they were years ago, they're going to have to start featuring the younger talent and start ushering the older guys. Keep them on the card, but not the top of the card. The special attraction, it's time. I don't know. Here's the thing, though. They don't know one day if a Death Rider is a babyface or a heel. And the flip-flopping and the confusion of their fan base and the crowd hurting them.
Look, I think the fans are going to ride behind this guy no matter what.
Okay.
If you're a sicko, you watched Collision last night. He has the fans. He has his fans, bro. It's
the plumber?
I just don't, huh?
Is the plumber you talking about?
What?
Who are you talking about that have his fans behind him?
I'm just talking about AEW at this point.
Oh, I'm talking about the plumber.
Oh, well, him too. I mean, he has his fans, but when they're fucking crazy, they don't. I mean, I question them, but oh my god, what you just sent me? What the hell? Why would somebody post that? But an hour ago, why would
brother?
Oh my god. Anyway, yeah, I mean, look, AEW at the end of the day has their core fan base. It's not gonna go away if with Moxley, he sucks, man. He sucks. But again, I've given him his credit for holding down AEW when, all this shit would happen with Punk and Hangman and Omega and the Bucks and all that. I give him his credit for holding it down while Ospreay and all them Swerve went down. But I'm not interested. And look, the show was all right. I mean, I didn't really like MJF. I like that with MJF, but I'm not really interested in him and Brody King. And that's really the only thing on this show that interests me anymore is MJF.
Max coming out against Brody King. I kind of would have loved to show. Everyone says it, and this is piggybacking from a lot of people because this what hurts us coming out a couple of days later when everyone said their points and we kind of agree with it. They should have showed a video package of him with Bandito beating him up afterwards and their relationship between Bandito and Brody King when they were, being tag team champions and all that stuff would have been a nice way of, damn, now I'm invested to see Max. Because I don't think Max, other than Warlord, has wrestled a big guy, the big style. Normally, and now that to me, that intrigues me. I want to see MJF, Brody King, because I want to see, Max now wrestle someone bigger and stronger, an obstacle in front of him. So yes, I like that going forward for Maxwell Jacob Freeman. But Kenny Omega's still lingering there. But Kenny Omega still wants to feud with the Don Callis family. It's like, enough already. Could we move a little bit away from that? If you're gonna have a payoff match, can we have it now? They borrow everything from the WWE, but they don't borrow this one. Retirement match. Can you get that for Kenny Omega and let him call it quits?
Right.
I mean, that's the one thing they're not borrowing. They don't want to borrow the retirement angle. I mean, that's what they need for Omega. He's given enough. He's given his body to the company. It's time for him to be a producer. I think he could be a hell of a producer. And he could wrestle occasionally if he has that itch, but not featured every week. To make it special when Omega wrestles. If he's going to get this one world title shot one more time, for what? So he could pigeon and say who's going to take it from Omega right away. I don't know. They're an interesting situation for them. And just like that, the tag team titles disappeared in AEW, huh? The women's and the men's.
Oh my god, that tag team division sucks, man. I don't even know who the tag team champions are in that company either. Is it fucking
FTR?
Oh my god, it's FTR. Jesus Christ!
And they don't feel special. They're not really reviving the tag team division.
They're supposed to be. That's the whole fucking reason they had the titles to begin with.
I don't know. Maybe they need to bring the Von Villains in and help out.
This company's just it's no interest. I have no interest, man. It's so boring. I mean, I watch it to give you guys to give a breakdown and talk about it. I like to keep up with it at least, but it's just oh my god.
And it sucks because the in-ring, the performers ain't the issue.
The in-ring is good. Yeah, it's not the wrestling is not the problem. It's literally everything else.
Everything else. It's just like, my God, they have the talent. They have the arsenal. They have all the bullets. They have all the firepower, but they just for reason the execution of the general is not working. The general is not executing the soldiers and the talents in there. You can't get mad at the soldiers because the general is not putting them in a succession to succeed and execute this battle that they're in. And it's what sucks. That's what frustrates wrestling fans when it comes to All Elite Wrestling, that the general and his commanders are not putting their soldiers in the right position to fight and possibly win a battle that it's called, the wrestling fans' heart and ratings and all that good stuff. So that's the stuff. That's all the good stuff that we're talking about. We're going to talk about final thing. That's something that sparked the IWC. Speaking of battles and wars and civil wars and all that stuff there. Yes, we're going to talk about a little bit there. We saw the AMC premiere where everyone talks about the empty seats behind when they went to this podcast reactors. They all listen. Those podcast reactors were invited because they're great friends with BDE. They all want to get in the wrestling business. They overreact to their shows. Reactionary on some of them were used on Netflix because they go over the top with their reactions. And they got their 15 minutes of fame. One particular podcaster that likes to review all the different contents, could be a little negative these days for some people's liking. JD from New York mentioned about Chris Van Fleet being a celebrity. D. Lee, or one of the Go to the Ghost, chimed in by one of the great reactionary podcasts because he kind of said that they not these type of celebrities, which I tend to agree. None of us are celebrities. No, there's no such thing. If you're either a Hollywood celebrity or not, if you're known, you're known. If you're not, you're not. All this sparks back and forth arguing. Like, what are we doing here, Chris?
First off, JD never added anybody. He never said that. Like Minnie and fucking we. Like, why are we? Oh my god, this is so stupid. I think this is all ridiculous. Look, at the end of the day, JD didn't mention anybody, and Weezy and Minnie, they had their personal shit with JD because he hates on them.
He does.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, they all suck. I like JD. I'm talking about the reactionary podcasters. You all suck. I'm not going to sit here and sound like I'm glazing JD because there's a lot of shit that, he says that I disagree with, whatever. But at the end of the day, I think he's entertaining. I am a fan of his content. He didn't at any of you guys. I don't know. I mean, Minnie made a whole fucking paragraph. Just that I like my views. I like my community. Bitch, no, respectfully, nobody asked. Nobody cares. People, I mean, all JD said was a bigger celebrity. He could have been talking about the celebrities. They showed celebrities, actual movie stars. What made Minnie and Weezy think that they were the celebrities that JD was talking about? I mean, this is fucking ridiculous.
Here's what I gotta say. JD from New York, when he does his reviews, he does it because he likes and he cares about the wrestling product. Regardless if you think he's a little bit too negative, he's not your cup of coffee. If you don't like his reactions or his takes or his opinions on the review, how terrible the product is, how boring it is for him, those are his opinion, those are his takes. That's what makes him JD from New York. When it comes to the reactionary podcasters, they don't break shit down. To me, they feel like they're clout chasing. They want to use their platforms for clout chase to, hey, look at me, look at my reaction. My community joins me because they want to see me clout react and reacting for the clouting. And they get their high when Netflix shows them for their 15 minutes reacting, or crying on stream when AJ Lee comes out. Are they really breaking down? They're telling you their emotions of the wrestling. JD is breaking down what he does not like about they're two different cup of coffees, two different subjects when it comes to the wrestling world. The fact that they're taking shots at one another and arguing, I mean, it just shows how diverse and how difference of opinion is the wrestling community. Some people might like them, some people don't like. Me personally, I'm going to say this. To me, they want to see those ladies to see if a tit pops out. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it like that. I'm going to be totally blunt.
I told Minnie that in her comments section.
They swear that, they look, there was a podcaster reactor. It's no longer does podcasting reacting anymore. Fucking watching long Monday Night Raw on a treadmill, having her ladies bounce all over the place. No longer doing it anymore. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. People tuned in. They were getting impressions, views, likes, because they were seeing them doing exercise while watching Monday Night Raw. What does that tell you? That's not wrestling reaction or breakdown or analysis. That's just clout chasing. You're clout chasing, and then you don't want to be.
And then when you go on your social medias, Kev, sorry to interrupt, but when you go on your social medias and you say, "I'm new to wrestling,"
it's not that. It's if you could be new, you have to start somewhere.
No, you have to start somewhere. I agree, but don't. The problem is these people think their shit don't stink. So don't act like you're better than me or a lot of, not using me, but anybody that whatever, because the people with their chat, like a lot of these people are, they're disrespectful to their chat. So if I go in someone's chat and I say something and it's like, well, I'm new to wrestling. I don't know that. Why am I going to watch you? Why am I going to give you super chats? Like, that's the thing. That's why I think I think it's like, you know what I'm saying? I think that's why it's like, it's also bullshit, because instead of watching somebody who knows this and been watching it and following it, like you said, you guys want to see some action. So they rather talk about it, listen to somebody that doesn't know shit. That's what I'm trying to say about it.
No, I get what you're telling me here. Look, if their gimmick, because let's call it this way, if their gimmick is getting over with the people on social media, I'm not hating. They're playing the game. But I'm gonna be honest and tell you the truth. They're watching you. At the end of the day, they're not watching you because they like your reaction and breakdown of the show. They're liking you because they want to get in your pants.
Mm-hmm.
Look at right now, Sarah Stock getting harassed, and people, and people, they're taking their images and putting Gronk to put people on bikinis like Jordan Grace and this and that. It's like, but meanwhile, it is the thing, the fine line. They want to use their sexuality for certain things, but when it gets to across the line, they're the ones to scream and yell immediately, "I'm being disrespected." When is the fine line there? Because it's a tough one, Chris. It's a tough one to tackle and talk about. But we have to have these conversations, because remember, everybody wants equal rights. Yeah. So if we want equal rights, you're gonna have equal criticisms.
I agree, man. At the end of the day, I don't like any of them. So I don't like any of the reaction streamers.
And do your thing, do your gimmick. It's not hating on your gimmick. That's your gimmick.
I'm just going to call what I see. There's a difference. I never said I hate that you do this. I just call what I see.
It's not for my cup of coffee.
You can thank BDE for your shit, for your TNA shit. That's all I gotta say. You didn't do anything to gain it. You got it because of associate, which that's the game. So congrats to you. Just don't make me look stupid, according to some people. I'm fucking wheezy. That's all I gotta say.
Look, I just leave it there. I'm gonna review. We're gonna interview wrestlers. We're gonna talk. We're gonna recap. We're gonna give our reactions. Our thoughts, our what we saw in the professional wrestling business, how everything's broken down. If we're your cup of coffee, thank you. You know what? We'll continue to brew it to the way you like it. And add some whatever you want. If we're not your cup of coffee, that's fine. There's other cup of coffees that you could see. You could watch the Wheezies. You could watch the other reactionary. You could watch the recaps. They're doing fine. Salo and JD are doing great in their recaps. They're doing their thing. Others with their watch-alongs are killing it. Others with their interviews are doing well. Everyone has their niche and a lane. There's plenty of internet to eat. There's plenty of internet to eat and to do, but don't get upset when you called out and get exposed for what you are doing. That's at the end of the day. Everyone, stay in your lane and just hopefully these guys, I don't know. I just, this is stupid. This is a dumb thing when it comes to dating and attacks and the blocking. And also, and also you also got to be grown up to have a spirit of a debate. If somebody's debating back with you, you don't go to the block button right away either. I have to listen out, debate, and try to resolve it. But you do what you got to do, guys. That's all I got to say. We want to thank everyone for watching with us here as Chris is getting the EGPGs. I see him all shakes and I see him all with the
No, I'm
Le Pica.
Man, I'm just yeah. Communities can be crazy. This community could be crazy,
but we want to thank everyone. We want to thank our sponsor here. This podcast was fueled and it's powered by Dude Wipes and the Sports Jedi Network, keeping you fresh, clean, both in and outside the ring. And our affiliate, Blackout Coffee. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Rumble. Put Rumble, save 20% off your order, or you can use my special promo code Sports Jedi 20, save even more, 20%. And of course, don't forget Dude Wipes. You can get it anywhere in your grocery aisles, with the toilet paper aisle. You can give you those that if this IWC war gets you a little bit with hemorrhoids, you could use your Dude Wipes medicated. It wipes out and keeps the flare-ups from all this IWC nonsense. If the broadcast reactors gives you a hemorrhoid flare-up, use your Dude Wipes medicated. You could save with Dude Wipes. You just got to, here we go. You just type the promo code and you text it out, which is 59463. They'll send you a code to save 20% off. Text Dude Save 20 and to 5943 and save 20% off. And with that, we say we are out. We want to thank everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon. Good luck to the Broncos, and we'll see you next time here on the Sports Jedi Network. This is me, PGA Chris, and BX Sports Jedi Kev. May the sports be with you. May the wrestling be with you.
Represento